about that too much.
Yeah. Hey, I hit live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Media Live, which will eventually be changed. This is the last one that David, aka Shamrock Balls, and I will be doing here on the Let's Talk Entertainment and Media podcast. Let's Talk Entertainment and Media channel. It's going to be moved over to the Let's Talk Movies podcast with David and John. So on its own YouTube channel. The replay will also be up there if you're watching on that. Thank you very much. But it's going to be live, all new here every single month, but it'll be over just on a different channel. But it'll still be David and I doing the thing that we like to do every single month. That's why you see the logos for Access Cinema Appreciation up there and the Let's Talk Movies podcast logo up there. Right, David?
Yeah, that's right, John, 100%. And yeah, so this is the last one, as John said, we're going to be doing here on Let's Talk Entertainment and Media, because we have pledged to put out 3 videos or shows a month. One is going to be Access Cinema Appreciation, as you can see the logo up in the corner there, and the Let's Talk Movie podcast, which we break down a movie from start to finish, scene by scene. And then there's going to be the live show. So we're going to be committed to doing one live show on our new channel, which is Let's Talk Movies podcast with John and David. So be sure if you enjoy what we're doing here on the live or on Access or on the podcast.
Ripley's here too.
Yeah, she enjoys it. And if you enjoy that, make sure you go over to subscribe to the Let's Talk Movies podcast with John and David. And also, we also have a Facebook page as well, John. Don't we? Now as well. So if you have a Facebook and you just want to keep up to date with everything, go over to the Facebook page and like that as well. Maybe a good idea for maybe at some stage to put it in the comments, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we could probably find a way to share it. And the Icelandic Psycho is here. What's up, buddy? Just met him last week on a live show, or 2 weeks ago on a live show. Big James Bond fan, which I know you and I both appreciated. George is here. David, you sleeping?
Not yet. I'm close to it.
And Mr. Smelly Potato, channel banker over here on the Let's Talk Entertainment Media channel. Thank you, buddy, for being here as well. And, don't let that, we're getting away from what this video is going to be, what this live show is all about. In honor of Valentine's Day coming up and for all the lovebirds out there, David and I wanted to talk about the top 10 movies that we love. So these are our favorite films, not necessarily the best films ever made. So you might see some surprise on there that'd be like, you guys, you don't think that's one of the best? No, it's our favorite films. And also, make sure you guys share in the comments what your favorite films are.
Yeah, and of course, look, we're a few days off Valentine's Day. We're going to try and do a live once a month on what is this? Is this the second Monday of the month? That is on the second Monday of each month. So that's why. But we do have a video coming out on the 13th. So that's why we're doing this tonight. And because it is Valentine's, come up the Valentine's weekend or Valentine's week, I don't know, whatever people celebrate, we decided to do a show on Sean says the top 10 movies that we actually absolutely love, which is why we've got all the hearts going around and all the rest. So that's what we're doing.
And George said Empire Strikes Back, which is a good one. I don't know if that'll be on your list or if it'll be on my list. We'll just have to wait and see. But David and I also wanted to, you guys have been watching us for a while. I know that if you followed my channel since the very beginning, you know what my favorite film is. And David makes sure on no matter what show we do to bring up his favorite film, which is right behind him. So we didn't want to, leave that kind of hanging there. We know that you guys know what's coming. So we're going to start with our first films and then we'll talk about the other 9.
Yeah, well, it's best just to get that out of the way. If anybody's been watching the channel for any length of time, then they know very rightly that my favorite film is Piranha. But what's yours, John? Dirty Dancing?
Dirty Dancing, or my favorite Arnold, Red Heat. No, I'm a big Terminator fan. 1984's The Terminator is my favorite film of all time. I absolutely love it. I know it's going to show up somewhere on your list. I'm not sure, but that's my favorite. I've always been a big fan of The Terminator, and no matter what, some films get close, and we'll talk about it, but I can never dethrone what I love, and I know you feel the same way about your favorite film.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know what else to say, but I've said so much about Jaws on this channel already. But yeah, it's been my favorite. It might be on the list, George. But yeah, Jaws has been my favorite film since I was 6 years of age. So almost 40 years. Jaws has been my favorite film of all time, and it's one that I can't see ever being dethroned. Um, not only is it a great movie, not only is it a classic movie, I also have that kind of nostalgic connection to it of all those memories of watching it when I was a child, right through my teenage years up until now. So, and also we also have a few Jaws episodes on the Let's Talk Movie podcast. So if anybody who hasn't seen them and is watching here tonight is interested in that, you can go back and listen to them or watch them, and you'll get a lot of our thoughts on Jaws.
Yep, and there's also a Terminator podcast on there as well if you want to get that. And Red Heat is actually one of my least favorite Arnold movies as well, which is why I made that joke because Terminator being my favorite, Red Heat was I love, and it's funny because I love Jim Belushi, but a little bit of a letdown. What's up, Insomniac? Glad you could pop in here as well. And the Atlantic Psycho also said Gladiator, Scarface, American Psycho, Carlito's Way, Face Off, Spider-Man 2002. Count of Monte Cristo, Stand By Me, Lord of the Rings, and the Goofy movie. Love that you included the Goofy movie. And then George, if you want to read off George's.
Yeah, George's is Raiders of the Lost Ark, Batman from 1989, The Dark Knight, which we went to the cinema together to see, George, just the two of us.
Ah.
Well, it actually wasn't just the two of us. There was a few other people. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Back to the Future, the first one, part one, and the Blues Brothers. Now, some of these may be on my list, but I have to say that my list, when I wrote it out, John, I've realized that we have done podcasts for every movie on my top 10 list.
Really? I was looking at my list. Actually, I'm wondering. I'm going to count them up and see which ones we've done on ours. We've only done 1, 2, 3, 4 of my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah, one though is on the schedule.
Right. Okay. One's on the schedule. So is that 5 or 4 still?
It's still 4, but 5, like one's on the schedule. It's on the schedule for us to record for the Let's Talk Movies podcast this year, but I don't want to spoil that yet. Okay. Mention our Dark Knight bromance. Did one of you guys do the popcorn trick?
No, we actually went to it was a new cinema that had a VIP suite where you got the recliner chairs. You lay back like that, to watch the Dark Knight. And yeah, the only problem that is that when you're watching a long movie, after a while, you feel like you could just turn around and go to sleep. But yeah, I always remember I got up because it's a long movie. I got up to go to the toilet, and when I was coming back, just as I was sitting in the chair, the jump scare from when the fake Batman hits the window, when the mirror's looking out the window, just as I was relaxing into the chair, all you heard was the ba-bum, and I jumped out of my bloody seat, and George is sitting laughing at me, but it was just because I just was literally just settling into my seat, and I heard this big noise.
Yeah, that's one thing Nolan loves to do is like do that big spike in the score and scare the shit out of you. What's up, Aaron? Thanks for popping in here, buddy. Yeah, guys, if you're just coming in, definitely like the video so that we could hopefully get sent out to more people, but also keep sharing your list. We got some already. I always want to hear from you guys what your favorite films are, but I guess we'll trade one a piece like we usually do.
Yeah, sorry, she's just sniffing the back of my neck.
I didn't even know she was still there because the black blends at the couch. Now I can't see her head again, and the white looks like
yeah, she's just come back over again.
Good times, David. He said good times. That's funny though. You guys saw that together. The guys I went and saw the movie with, sadly, I don't even talk to, but like back when I saw The Dark Knight, that was like, I'm telling you, like a big deal that you were in a computer graphics class together, and we used to watch the trailers all the time. That movie and Step Brothers came out that year too.
Yeah, that was I think that was one that we were Batman 89 fans. Me and George are Batman 89 fans. And then The Dark Knight came along, and there was a lot of hype around it. And we thought, well, we'll go and watch it. And I believe it was me, myself, George, my brother, and his girlfriend. Can't think of anybody else, but we went out for pizza. We had a few beers, and then we watched the movie.
You made a whole thing out of it, huh?
So we made a wee bit of an evening of it, yeah.
All right. Who's this name? I'm trying. A RMX Sahalt game show fun. I love Girl Next Door. Hey, good movie. I've only seen it the one time, but I remember it being good. So, do you want to start off with your number 10, your bottom one?
Yes, I'm going to go for my number 10, John. I will start off with the absolutely amazing and classic One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh wow, that is one we did on the one Let's Talk Movies podcast.
Yeah, starring the brilliant Jack Nicholson, who won his first Academy Award for Best Actor.
Well deserved too, because he is phenomenal in that movie, and I understand why you love that movie. You've told me many times why you're a big fan, and I love that movie too. Didn't make my top 10. I don't even know if because I have a whole top 25 list here. It's not in my top 25 either, but still absolutely love it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I remember making like a top 10 list many years ago when I was like, younger, maybe a teenager, maybe 20s, think about my top 10 movies. Now, this has kind of been pushed up. I used to be higher up my list, but now it's kind of pushed up a bit. So there's a few films over the last 20 odd years that have kind of creeped up the list that I've appreciated even more the older I've got. But listen, it's an absolute classic. And, you know, beat my beloved Jaws out for Best Picture in 1976.
So it's not a bad thing though, even though like it's still in your top 10. It's just that it's not Jaws, you know.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So Zombies Assassins is top 3 for me. I watched it for finished my film studies class and fell in love with it. It was the first movie I noticed and understood why scenes were shot in certain ways. That's a good movie. I understand why that's a top 3 for you. And then Mr. Tales from the Class from Die Hard, Eternal Sunshine, Apocalypto, Airplane, The Exorcist, Gladiator, Wizard of Oz, Taxi Driver, City of God, not Taxi, that's a bad movie. City of God, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you just talked about it. Alien,
Mhm.
Before Sunset, Platoon, and Punch Drunk Love. That's a great list as well.
It is, yeah. It is a very good list.
Yeah. So my number 10, and I went back and forth. I was going back and forth which Tony Scott movie I wanted to put here. I almost put Days of Thunder, so that's kind of an honorable mention. I am a huge fan of Days of Thunder, and with NASCAR season coming around the corner, I always get in the mood to rewatch, and I just rewatched. I'm like, I fucking love this movie. But I'm gonna go with True Romance, which is the 1993 film written by Quentin Tarantino, but directed by Tony Scott. And I always love Tony Scott. I love how he shoots his films. I love the look of them. And even I'm not a big Christian Slater guy, but he's great in this movie. Everyone is so good in this movie. Samuel Jackson, Gary Oldman in small roles. And it's just a very light-hearted Tony Scott film with but it's still very dark as well. And if you're a Sopranos
Mhm.
fan, James Gandolfini, like you get to see early dark James Gandolfini in here.
Yeah, well, I think this is the movie that got James Gandolfini the role of Tony Soprano when they went back and looked at it. I meant, this is a guy that's got something going on here. He's got a very dark side to him as well. But yeah, True Romance is one of those ones. It's never quite grabbed me. I watched it many years ago and just thought it was okay. And then I got the Arrow release a few years back, watched it again, and thought, it's okay.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand why. This one I remember like the first time I watched it, like I was about I want to say 16, and I watched it with my stepdad in my room at the time, and we watched it, and it was just like I can't believe I never seen this movie. I was like entranced with it, and I still every time I go back, those smoky interiors, the way that Tony Scott makes his movies look, like with the sun setting, and then of course the famous scene with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken, like basically saying how Sicilian people deprived from black people, like basically, and like then he's like, I haven't killed anyone in 8 years, and just shooting the shit out of him.
I I actually like I like the producer at the end when he finds out that the guy has actually portrayed him, and he says,
No.
"You stabbed me in the heart."
Oh, there's so much overacting in the movie, but that's what I love. Even like the cops with Chris Penn and I don't remember who the other guy was, but that whole shootout at the very end is so great with all the feathers flying. It felt very John Woo inspired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just wondering, did you have a method here for your top 10, John? Did you have a method for picking them? Because we were in a wee bit there about Tony Scott, which one should I pick?
Well, I have a top 25 here, and Days of Thunder is close. Like it's close to it. So I was like, I rewatched Days of Thunder, and I thought maybe I'll bump it up to 10. But then I was like, no, there's a little bit, as much as I love Days of Thunder, and it's in my top 20. It's just that it gets a little bit, in the second act, it can drag a little bit. It's very much like Top Gun. Like it literally is just Top Gun on wheels. And it'd only be because of my fandom for NASCAR that I would give it the edge. But I'm like, overall, True Romance is the better film, and I probably watch True Romance more.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
So it's just like when we were doing this video, I wanted to go back and like kind of relook at the list because there is a video on the channel on my top 25 films, so you can actually see where I actually have that. Because I only made one move, which was 11 to 10, so I did swap out my 11 for 10.
Mhm.
So but that's a story for another day. Mr. Smelly Potato says that his favorites are TMNT, Back to the Future, Big Lebowski, T2, Aladdin, Jurassic Park, Napoleon Dynamite, Spider Man, Happy Gilmore, and Ghostbusters. That's a great top 10.
Well, I have to say, Mr. Smelly Potato, we have done a few of them already on the podcast, and I will also disclose that we have a few coming up this year, which are on your list.
Yep, we won't say yet. I mean, he'll be able to figure out one of them because I think we hinted at it in one of our other episodes. But yeah, we do have a couple of those, and a couple of them we've already done. Dance with Me, Dirty Dancing, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Mr. Deeds, Just Go With It. I love Just Go With It, actually. Billy Madison, Atlantis, The Lost Empire, and Avatar 1, 2, and 3. So a lot more modern films on your list.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, with Insomniac says, E.T. introduced me to Reese's Pieces and is still my favorite candy to date. I love Reese's Pieces and I love E.T. That one hurt me not to put on the top 10, so that's a little bit of a spoiler.
So that means, John, you have no Spielberg on your top 10.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. I don't have any Spielberg, and which is crazy, right? I know.
Shocker.
And I love Spielberg.
Uh-huh.
But that just goes to show you how hard these are.
It is.
In no particular, except TESB is number one, and the Empire. Hey, another person with the Empire Strikes Back at number one. That goes to show you the quality. No spoilers, he says.
No spoilers.
Yeah, we can't be hinting too much. So what's your number 9, buddy?
Right, number 9 is Alien.
Interesting. So I remember you actually telling me not too long ago that like this movie wasn't in your top 10, but I guess it's finally made its way.
Yeah, and when it was, look, I have a general consensus in my head of what my top 10 is. And a lot of it comes down to how often I revisit the movie, or how I have or how I kind of like obsessive I become with the movie, to the point where I want to learn everything about it, or you know what I mean? And I'd, I'm kind of trying to wonder what was in my top 10 before this, because I know there was Alien wasn't, and there was a few other ones here that weren't. So I can't remember it used to be in it, but this is a movie here that over the last like 5, 6, 7, 8 years that I've just gravitated to the point where I think it's better than Aliens. It's hypnotic, and I just love putting it on, say, in a really dark, stormy, wintry night when you're all cozy in bed and you can just pop on Alien and just chill out with it. I think it's a really, really great movie.
Yeah, I love Alien too. One of Ridley Scott's best, and that was one that I was like floating with the top 10 too. Like, would it get there? But I also think that Blade Runner is also another one of his best films. And I was like, do I like Blade Runner more? Kind of thing. But like, I think what kind of makes Alien better as time has gone on is also how these guys are just like working class slobs and like they're getting screwed. Like, as you get older and you work longer, you can like relate more to these people who are just they're just trying to do a job, and like fucking an alien has to ruin everything.
Yeah, what I actually like about it is that the slow burn, John. Like you say, the down to earth, relatable characters, and then they're put in this, no pun intended, alien environment of space. However, it's all set aboard the spaceship, so we can kind of relate to maybe being in an enclosed space, trying to deal with something that we don't understand, and that's what makes it kind of scary. So I just like the aesthetic of it as well. See the look of it as well, Giger's work, and of course how Scott kind of filmed it, where it is kind of dark and it's dingy and it's steam, just steam and all that type of bits of it. The whole design of the movie is really nice, and it's got a great Jerry Goldsmith score as well.
Love that Jerry Goldsmith score. Jerry Goldsmith is one of the best. Islamic Psycho did say that Alien is the superior film, I guess, to Blade Runner, which makes sense. Drake Transformers Dark Side of the Moon only because I'm an 80s Transformers kid. Laugh Out Loud, Airplane, Young Guns 2, T2, Naked Gun, and Shot in the Dark. I'm surprised that George hasn't brought up Spinal Tap yet.
Well, all I'll say to George is you never want a naked gun to shoot off in the dark.
No, you do not.
But I do have to say that Young Guns 2 for me is one of my favorite movies. It's not in my top 10. It is one of my favorites, and I believe it's better than the original.
I do think that as well. One day we'll have to do that show on that one. It's tough like picking a top 10. Like that's why like when I did a video, I did the top 25, because picking your 10 favorite, like when you love movies, like 10's hard.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, I actually said to you that I kind of have it set in my head what my top 10 kind of is. It's just about what order do they go in. but I think it would be harder for me to do the next 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes
I,
sense.
I really do because there's so much in the next 10 which I think to myself, which one is it better? Does it deserve to be in there? Should it drop down a wee bit further? Whereas like a lot of these in my top 10 are to me are just absolute classic movies and a good mix. Although when I did look at them, there's an awful lot from the same decade. But that probably just comes into where your own personal taste lies.
Ah, yeah, that's very true. Exactly. Then this is all just personal taste, and film is so subjective. That's why it's cool that everyone's given their list as well. And Aaron clicks it. Yeah, no, but worries, brother. I figured it was a typo, and that's why you fixed it. But over here, love that picture, by the way. My top 10 for what it's worth. The Thing. Wow, good number one. Two, seven, three, Jaws. Four, The Dark Knight. Five, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Six, Evil Dead. Two, seven, Yo Jimbo, good movie. Eight, Citizen Kane, The Fly, and Taxi Driver. No, those are all great lists.
Did you say Jaws 4?
No, he said I as Jaws. Although no, Jaws and then four being The Dark Knight. But hey, Jaws four, if it would have made the top 10, that'd be an awesome list. Goes up to these go up to 11. That's a
Oh, well, do you know what? I was nearly going to suggest, John, should we throw an 11 in because we were going to go off the bat and say, well, look, listen, everybody knows mine's Jaws and everybody knows yours is the Terminator. So there's no big reveal there. Maybe we should do, 2 to 11.
Yeah, we could do that as well. Actually, no, it's funny if you want to do that. Maybe when we get to our number ones, we'll do our number 11s instead.
Right. Well, yes. Well, give me an hour to think about that.
Yeah, exactly. So you got a little time to get a number 11. Or
Yeah.
even if you want to crank out, because I'm actually at take off for like 1 minute and a second, and then you can vamp for a little while. You can let them know some other movies or respond to some people in the chat. But I'll let you know. No Superior to Aliens. Oh yeah, I agree. I think Alien is superior to Aliens as well. Blade Runner, not sure. That's extremely tough, but possibly. I think I put Blade Runner ahead, but they're so close now. Alien is the Terminator, as Aliens is the Terminator 2. Exactly. It's funny that James Cameron he just didn't do one of those four films.
Yeah. Well, the thing I actually found about Alien and Aliens and Terminator 2, I don't subscribe that Terminator's a horror. I think they took the horror template, but to me, it's more of a sci-fi action thriller. You want to break the genres up, and Alien is a sci-fi horror. But what Cameron did was he then made Aliens, which to me is an action thriller, and then he made Terminator 2, which is just to me a pure action movie. So what he actually done was he just turned the sequels more action orientated
Yeah.
rather than pure suspense.
Exactly. Which, I kind of I agree right here with Islamic Sonic, and I sold it to you that I know you do as well. That Terminator is superior, which is,
Yep.
I guess it's funny. It's like I believe that was the minority opinion for a while, but I think more people have come around on our side that Terminator is the superior film because once you kind of step away after a long time, because Terminator 2, I think, is the greatest sequel of all time, but compared to Terminator, I do think that it's a little bit flawed, just if you were to compare just the two films.
Mm-hmm.
So hit that thumbs up. Thank you, Dark Room Reviews, and I'm glad you can make it. Appreciate that. In my opinion, is Aliens a bit of a travesty of a sequel? Wow, did a total 180 in terms of tone from the original. Alien 3 is a much worthy sequel. Yeah, that's a bold statement, but I appreciate it.
Well, one thing I found interesting about the Alien sequel was that Cameron did get a bit of backlash from the die-hard fans of the original at the time, because he changed the kind of the lore of the xenomorph by bringing in the Queen and made it more of like um, a hive type of situation, like what insects do, and that was never the intention for the xenomorph. So I get that. I mean, Alien as a movie, as a contained movie, is perfect.
Yeah, but I do love Aliens. Alien 3, it's a mixed bag for me. Felt like it could have been better, but I do like the atmosphere of it. They were trying to bring back the tone of Alien, but it's just, that's one where David Fincher that he pretty much doesn't even want to talk about it because everything he went through. But yeah, Ben Ronda, all I know is Back to the Future is my favorite. That's a great one, buddy. That's a great favorite film to have. Appreciate you popping in as well. So these are so The Empire Strikes Back is one, and then the rest are not in order for Aaron Click. And he says Pulp Fiction, Ed Wood, Warrior, Vacation, Halloween, It Follows, Mulholland Drive, The Exorcist, Psycho, and too hard to put in any order. Yeah, I get that because that's a great list. And I agree about the Alien versus Terminator in terms of not being a horror movie by Terminator and Terminator 2 are two different games, same as Alien. It's Aliens are two different genres. Yeah, the 100% right. So, um, you want me to do my number 8, number 9, David?
You're under your name, John. Yes.
All right, here's one I know you'll enjoy, and that is Lethal Weapon.
Interesting, John. Very
Uh,
good.
Very good movie, right? I love
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon.
I like that. I like that it's in your top 10. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I've told we've discussed it many times, it being a Christmas movie, but it's this is one where I always quote it, and I've always can like just rewatch it, like endlessly rewatchable, which is a big thing
Yeah.
with my top 10. Is like the movies have to be very rewatchable. Like I can always go back and like never be bored of them. And Lethal Weapon is one of those movies.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I've explained on the channel that is the Christmas movie that kicks off my Christmas movie watching season. I always watch it at the start of December every single year, and yeah, I just think it's superb.
No, I exactly. I completely agree. I just always and I like Lethal Weapon 2, and I see a lot of people saying sometimes that Lethal Weapon 2 is the better film, but um I just think that and here's a good point. Love Lethal Weapon. Weirdly, I think those films get better as they go along. I enjoy the entire franchise. Don't get me wrong. I think 2, 3, and 4 are still very good movies. It's just one you could only have them have that dynamic of being introduced to each other for the first time, and then they're friends the entire time. So it's like just about their adventures from that point forward. Where in the
Yeah,
first one, it's like they didn't know each other. Like Riggs is, we find that we have the scene where he lost his wife. It's just so tragic. Him like having to like sitting there with the gun, and you
yeah,
just you get those emotional moments. But then you also have the comedy in there, and then of course like the big fight scene at the end. And like, what do you say, Jack? Want to shout out the title?
yeah, and yeah, you're right. It's a wee bit darker. It's a wee bit grittier. I think it feels a bit more grounded and real. So it does. It has a kind of edge to it that I don't think the sequels have.
No, I agree. Exactly. It's something a little darker about it. And what'd you think of the director's cut, buddy? The Slantic Psycho, because I was not a fan of that director's cut. I didn't like how Riggs was introduced, but I'm always looking for other opinions. Maybe you enjoyed it. For me, I think the theatrical cut is superior. You didn't check that out yet, right?
No, I didn't check it out because I got the 4K specifically for the watch at Christmas, because I hadn't got it yet. And then when I went sit down to put it on, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to watch this movie twice, and I'd prefer just to watch the original version.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think that's the superior version myself.
Maybe I'll check it out next year or this year.
Huh, yeah, give it a whirl. See what you think. Like for me, it doesn't necessarily work. It hurts the film a little bit. Like there's stuff that's cut, but hey, that's the thing about a director's cut. It doesn't always have to be better, but it does exist. It's like Friday, and even
Yeah,
Dumb and Dumber's director's cuts. I just don't like them.
yeah.
Yeah, but what's your number 8?
Okay. My number 8, talking about if you want, do you want a shot at the title?
Uh-huh.
My number 8 is Rocky.
Ah, that's a great one. I was wondering where this would place in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say about Rocky? Again, an all-time classic with an amazing soundtrack. It made Sylvester Stallone won Best Picture, Best Director. Um, yeah, it's just if you notice so far, like all three of my movies so far from the 70s.
I was gonna point that out, and which it's funny because one, two, I have a lot of movies from the '80s, and there is about a 10-year age gap between us. So it's like you kind of grew up with those '70s movies, and I grew up with
Yeah,
the '80s movies, and I think age plays a big thing into things, and when you're young, like you're learning your taste and what you like, and it's like if you
yeah.
saw those movies when you were a kid, they kind of stick with you your whole life.
Yeah, and Rocky, as a franchise, I absolutely love every single Rocky movie. John, we have touched on this before. I even love Rocky 5. Um, and I think Rocky 2 is my favorite. But as far as movies go, this movie is outstanding. Again, we done an episode on the podcast very early on, very early on when we first started it. And when I watched this movie, it just even though it's clearly set in the 70s, and again it's another slow movie, it's more a drama than anything else. It's more a love story than anything else. Just the characterizations, the dialogue, all these characters that have problems with each other and they aren't happy with their lives, and how uplifting it becomes when Rocky gets that shot at the guy who's on top of the world, that he can make a name for himself, and how he grasps that. And when that music kicks in when he's training, I mean, you feel like you want to go out and run a marathon, you know?
Yeah,
So
you want to hit those steps yourself. It's a beautifully shot movie too. The steady cam, great following him up the stairs. Like so, the technology there and the story behind Rocky is always very fascinating as well because it's like an underdog story for Sylvester Stallone.
yeah, that's right. That kind of reflects his life at that particular time. But the great thing about it is, John, is that he doesn't win, and that's not what it's about. I mean, the fight. He doesn't win the fight, but he earns respect, and
Mhm.
that's what the movie is about. Is about having respect for yourself and earning respect.
Yeah, and honestly, knowing you for as long as I have, you've made me appreciate Rocky, and more importantly, you've made me appreciate Rocky 2 more, which I might put above Rocky 4 now as my favorite in the series. But I'm also a big Carl Weathers fan, and
Yeah,
like we flesh out the Apollo character a lot more in 2, and I love the Apollo character.
yeah, he's absolutely brilliant as well. Yeah, I mean, everybody in this movie is absolutely brilliant.
Yes, I completely agree. And the Islamic Psycho is referring to Lethal Weapon. Theatrical superior, but enjoyed the extra scenes, which is kind of what Insomniac is echoing as well. The director's cut is good for a one-time watch. So you have the added context, but to his character. But you can just watch the standard version from then on. It's always worth it to give it a shot because if I don't like it or you don't like it, or maybe Ripley doesn't like it, at least you could say you tried, right?
Yeah,
What's up, Tony the Load Rider Smith and Rocky? Yeah, the fifth one is best. Fifth one is a but underrated. Maybe I enjoyed it. I like the fifth one. I just rewatched it this year actually, and I've always enjoyed that one as well. I'll never get over the fact that Paulie, they trusted Paul. They trust Paulie with his money. What the fuck?
power of attorney.
Who gives it to Paulie? Like.
That's Rocky for you.
Right. So there. Okay. So some honorable mentions for Aaron Click would be Raiders of the Lost Ark and Back to the Future. If you want to rattle off some other kind of notes real quick, I'll be back in like 30 seconds. If you real quick.
Yeah, sure, John. No problem at all. Let me see what we've got here. I'll see if I can read out some of your comments. If anybody's got anything to say here, let me see. Yeah, so I just want to refer back to the last comment there. The fifth one is underrated, in my opinion. I think it's a bit misunderstood. Um, and I also think that if you look at the history of boxing, basically how a lot of fighters go through what Rocky went through, as in losing their fortune. Okay, maybe question how that happened with Paulie. And you could also question how Rocky couldn't go and maybe do some commercials like he did in Rocky 3 to earn a bit of money and make money through maybe media and stuff like that. But I do like the idea of him returning back to where he actually started. I like going back to Philadelphia and seeing the steps and seeing Mick's gym and stuff like that. So I definitely do think it's underrated. I was just touching on Rocky 5 there, John, but
Oh,
I think
okay.
maybe at some stage we're going to do an episode on Rocky 5, so I didn't want to say too much.
No, yeah, exactly. You don't want to go too far into it, which is fair enough. I liked Rocky 5. My ring's outside.
Marines outside.
I can see why you and George got along so well. I love Rocky 5. I don't know why people hate that movie. I'm gonna guess that people hated that movie because it's just not like you don't get the big fight in the ring
Yeah.
from Rocky. He's sidelined.
I think it's kind of like, the people didn't like to see Rocky losing everything. They didn't like to see him go back to being a loser. And then when the big fight and being betrayed, which, but then the big fight at the end, as John says, happens in the street rather than the ring. But I do like the street fight.
Yeah, I love the street fight, which apparently I found out for the first time. I think no, you told me it. That's how I found it out. They reshot it, like
Yeah, they
which I'm
did.
like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spit you off a fact that you gave to me.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that, John. But you know that Rocky was supposed to die in the
That's
street
for
fight.
oh, he really wanted to kill off Rocky so many times.
Well, and the studio was the one that said you don't kill James Bond. Funny enough, you don't kill Batman and
You
you
know,
don't kill Rocky. And he
It-
went, all right, I'll rewrite the end.
and it's funny because he also tried to kill off Rambo before that franchise also took off.
Uh huh. He
I don't
did,
know if
yeah.
that was his decision to save him, but yeah. So it's funny. He's always just trying to kill off his characters. So my number 8, I'm gonna guess, is nowhere near your top 10. Is The Fugitive.
No, I I've seen The Fugitive like twice in my life.
One of my favorite line deliveries in film history is in this movie by U.S. Marshal Sam Gerard, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who won the Academy Award for this movie, as you know, when he's like basically given the entire layout of like how to catch Dr. Richard Kimball. That entire sequence of like, we're gonna do a big search and everything. I can't do it off the top of my head because I'm bad at that kind of thing, but it's incredible. And then of course Harrison Ford, who most people are gonna go, that's Indiana Jones, that's Han Solo. My favorite performance by Harrison Ford his entire career is as Dr. Richard Kimball in this movie, because the
Uh-huh.
vulnerability of it all. Like this guy who didn't kill his wife and now has to prove, he has to basically, because he has the worst fucking lawyer in the world, has to like prove that he's innocent. Like I don't
Mhm.
understand why he's the one who has to do the detective work for all them, but still, I just love him and I love Tommy Lee Jones, and I even like the sequel, which is just the same movie but basically stripped down of all the love, and it's still pretty good. U.S. Marshals.
Mhm. Yeah, I seen that in the mid-90s, I think when it come on Sky Television, and, I watched it again on television about 10 years ago, and, maybe less, and I did thoroughly enjoy it, but I don't know, John, maybe it's one that maybe I just didn't watch again and again when I was younger.
Mhm.
I I've seen it on sale a few times, and I went, "Oh, I'll pick it up," and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if it's one I would return to again and again."
Ben Rondo says, "I don't know, John. Hickey, which is a hinky, which is what's that word? Hinky. That's from the movie too." And you know what? I understand that the whole young thing. Me, my brother, and my cousins, we used to pretend to be the characters in both this movie and in U.S. Marshals. Like we'd pretend to be like somebody would be Sam Gerard, somebody would be Harrison Ford. We'd pretend to be those characters. So, which is a weird one, I think, for a lot of people to do that with,
I
right?
know, people were like, playing like even Rocky, you know what I mean? Or, um, playing Batman and the user playing the fugitive.
Yeah, we're playing The Fugitive. Who does that? But it's like you're a spin on cops and robbers. But I'll always just remember that, and like because you have the team to there's Joey Pants and everybody, and like all these kind of like little character actors get their little spots as well. And I don't know, it's shot in Chicago in the winter, and that's a movie in the snow always kind of will always tickle my fancy a little bit too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that might be a crazy thing to hear because people when they go to Harrison Ford, it's like you're gonna pick, and I love Star Wars. I mean, I literally have a Han Solo tattoo on me. So but still, I would rather have Dr. Samuel Gerard with that
Yeah.
beautiful beard.
Yeah. Is that why you've got the beard?
Exactly, it's in his honor. Except he shaves it, but I get it. He's on the run.
He's on the run. Well, I mean, I would find it hard to look past Indiana Jones for Harrison Ford, even though it's a larger than life caricature of a character. I think that's what he'll always be mainly remembered for by the majority of the populace.
And I love the entire original trilogy of Indiana Jones. Like one of those movies would be in my top 25 as well. You know which one. But
Yeah.
the introduction of Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark is probably the greatest character introduction in film history.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your number
So
7?
number 7, John, and I'm very surprised that I gonna this obviously isn't in your top 10. It is Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
No, it's not. And is that even that's not even in my top 25 because ET is up there. And I've also told you another movie that is in mine that's didn't make it. We'll talk about it maybe a little later as far as honorable mentions, but like yeah, I don't have it, but Close Encounters is a great choice. Another 70s movie for you.
Another 70s movie. So far, we've had 1975, 79, 76, and now 77. Yeah, again, I'm a big Spielberg fan. This is for me one of Spielberg's best movies. I'm not giving anything away, but I remember watching this movie as a young kid and just being totally terrified and fascinated by it. And then it came back to me again, and when I was a wee bit older, and I just think this movie's fantastic. And we done again, as I said earlier, we done a podcast on this, and I just don't think Spielberg has ever made a movie like this since. He's made
No.
sci-fi movies, he's made alien movies, but there's just something about this movie. It's just so wondrous. And I'm a big Richard Dreyfuss fan, and I think he plays this role of Roy Neary perfectly. So again, another wonderful score by John Williams. I don't know how this movie didn't well, it wasn't nominated, was it, for Best Picture? But yeah, I feel as if it's definitely the superior movie to Star Wars that year. But
So do
of
I.
course, Star Wars appealed to mass families. So but no, it's such a great film.
Yeah, because I think it's probably the family drama aspect of it that kind of, which you would think would appeal more to people, but Star Wars was just something so fresh and so new for people that, when you look back now, maybe now we've gotten so far away, we could say that Close Encounters is the better film. Maybe not to everybody, but you're right, Richard Dreyfuss is amazing in it. The score is amazing. The entire like third act is incredible.
But even like John, and I know obviously Star Wars really did kind of change special effects when it was made. It really did innovate that type of style of special effects we see for the next decade into the 80s. But the special effects in this as well were something special for the time.
They really were. They really were. And then even the entire, what always gives me goosebumps is like how they like to, everything that Francis Truffaut's doing through the movie. And like, him like investigating and like the ship like just shows up in the middle of the sand. Like all that stuff is just incredible.
Yeah, and again, that thing that Spielberg done with Jaws was bring a realism to this movie that you could believe this. It was something we're again just comparing to Star Wars because they came out the same year, and they're both. These were the two movies that kicked off that whole sci-fi, um, genre again into the 80s, about aliens and things like that, and things in space. They even made Star Trek a couple of years later as a movie, but just the he brought just a realism to it that you could believe that something like this could happen. You
Yeah.
know.
It is believable, and I mean, Richard Dreyfuss is incredible in the film.
Yeah.
Rambo
Yep.
4 was supposed to be a spin-off of a new set of the Rambo movies with one of the Marines that was with them, but the studio decided to change their minds after during editing, and they came out with Rambo 5. I don't think they'll ever stop making Rambos until he's dead. Did he die in Last Blood? I don't even remember. But E.T., the Texas Night of the Living Dead are more honorable mentions of mine. Oh, that's great movies. Spielberg new movie looks interesting. What'd you think of the trailer for Deliverance Day?
But I wasn't. I mean, it was okay. I was excited when I seen it dropped. I thought, here we go. This is going to be this. Hopefully, this is going to be amazing. But halfway through, I thought this just looks like another generic, modern trailer for a modern movie. But I will go and watch the movie. I'm going to go and watch it because I love Spielberg, and we are actually going to do a show, John, anyway, aren't we, on this movie?
Yes, we
And
are.
we're going to discuss his other sci-fi alien movies along with the new Spielberg movie.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that so later in the year. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Spielberg movies could be my top 10. That's the thing with
Yeah,
Spielberg. He's got so many.
yeah.
Rambo prequel being filmed. Yeah, that's very true. Which that'll be interesting. I'll definitely probably still end up checking that out. So we're up to my number 7, which I'm curious if this one made your top 10. RoboCop.
No.
Ah.
I should have said negative.
Negative. Ah, yeah. Well, the 80s person that I am, that I love those kinds of movies, and RoboCop
Yeah.
is a perfect illustration of the 1980s, and it's also a satire of our society. And you know what? That satire gets more and more real by the day, like privatizing the police force, and then of course this guy just getting sent to this one station, doesn't know why, gets turned into RoboCop after he gets brutally murdered by one of the best villains of all time, Clarence Boddicker.
Mhm.
Guns, guns, guns.
The Tigers are playing tonight.
I never miss a game.
It's a game. Um, Listen, RoboCop is a great movie. It is one of my favorite movies. I just couldn't put it in the top 10 that I have here. Now, I put myself on the spot earlier by saying maybe we should do what our number 11 is. And right now, I don't know what that's going to be. So I think that RoboCop could be in my next 10, but I don't know where.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, it's it's such an incredible film, man. It's a Yeah, and it also flies by at such a great pace, and
Yeah.
everything. It's brutal. Like when you watch the director's cut with all the violence in there, but then again, like it being a satire, it works. It all comes together so well. The sequels, I like 2. I don't like 3, and the remake it's unnecessary. But that's how I feel.
But I always remember the first time I watched RoboCop, and it's a movie that I've loved from the first time I watched it. Maybe because I was too young to watch it at the time. But the thing is that about RoboCop is that it's a movie that has never left me. I've always had it in VHS. I've had it in DVD. I have it in Blu-ray. I have it in 4K. So it definitely is a favorite of mine, John. And I think one of the things is that, in my opinion, it hasn't dated. And I think as time has went on, it's starting to get appreciated even more because there's a lot of stuff in that movie that happens in that movie is kind of a reflection of society, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think helps it stand the test of time. Can you fly, Bobby? I liked Rambo 5, but the CGI didn't look good. Rambo 4 has better special effects. Yeah, that CGI, I'm telling you, it's ruining Hollywood.
Mhm.
So, what's your number 7?
Number 6.
6, I'm sorry.
It's fine, John. It's no worries. My number 6, you'll like this one, is The Terminator.
Ooh, yeah, it's a favorite of mine.
Have you seen it?
A couple times this year already.
Couple of times this week, and it's only Monday. Yeah, what can I say? Look, again, Terminator, one of my favorite films, has been since I seen it since I was a kid, has always been a favorite. The funny thing is that and I've told you this story, John, is that I was a Terminator fan before Terminator 2 was even thought of, before we even knew there was a Terminator 2. I was a massive Terminator fan. I feel as if there's a lot of people who came to Terminator through Terminator 2 first and then went back and rediscovered the original. And in recent years, as you say, have reevaluated how great Terminator 1 was. But for me, Terminator 1 was always an amazing movie. And when I was younger, yes, T2 was the one I probably, once that came out, I probably watched that a lot more than T1 because it is a lot more action orientated, and it was flashier and in a lot of ways a wee bit gorier or edgier. But then I got to the stage of my late teens where like I was like, no, Terminator's like that's the better movie for me, because it's just got again an edge to it that Terminator 2 doesn't have. It doesn't have that gloss.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that grittiness to it that's the big reason. Another big reason for me. But you only having it at number 6 and just missing the top 5 makes me want to say, "Fuck you, asshole."
Yeah, it was tough. You're lucky it wasn't lower. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, as long as it's in that top 10.
Yeah, it was it's tough because I kind of look at some of the other movies and I go to myself, do I like them more? Do I like them more than the Terminator? Is the Terminator slipping down? There's times I actually think they like RoboCop more, and it's not in my top 10, John. But I don't know. The Terminator is magnificent. I think what I actually have with the Terminator is Terminator fatigue.
I listen. This is something that I've been trying to talk about for a while. This happened to me with the Thing this year, where I was like, I got to give the Thing a couple years off. I think because I've watched it too many times. It's not in my top 10, but I love the Thing, and yeah, I think if you watch something too much for too often, and especially with the way these years click by, you can get burnt out.
Yeah, I kind of get burnt out with the Terminator a long time ago, but it's still I still love it.
Yeah, I agree. Shame George said that shame they ruined the Terminator with Dark Fate, Genesis, and Rise of the Machines. Dark Fate is although there's I don't know if you've seen Dark Fate yet, but when one of the characters that we love from Terminator 2 and Terminator gets shot in the face at the beginning, I felt like my childhood got shot in the face. Genesis is a joke, and Rise of the Machines has I like the ending.
I'm just confused because there's more Terminator movies.
Yeah, the only one he didn't talk about is Salvation, but that's the other sequels. Salvation's okay.
Oh, I didn't know they made any after Terminator 2.
They shouldn't have. The Terminator's 4K is fantastic. Never picked up Terminator 2 4K because it is shit. Yes, it is shit. And you know what? I own 2 copies of it, and I don't watch them both. I watch the Skynet edition on Blu-ray.
Yeah. Well, I picked up Terminator 1 4K way back last year, and I just haven't got around to watching it again on 4K. So I will at some stage. But yes, because of the T2 4K, I've heard bad reports about it. I
Oh,
haven't bought that yet. I just have the normal Blu-ray.
hang on to that Blu-ray. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well,
It's
actually,
still.
I have the 2 versions. I have the Studio Canal and I have the Skynet edition.
Oh, so you have the studio, which is just a 4K scan downgraded to Blu-ray. So that one, it's a little bit waxy looking, but I still think the Skynet version is superior.
Yeah, well, when we done our show on T2, I watched the Skynet edition for that podcast, and
Smart.
it looks great.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a great one. Let's make sure. Do we bang out the comments? Do we? I didn't see the. Yeah, we did. Okay, real quick. So then, my number six, and you and I had a conversation about this a couple weeks ago, and it's Goodfellas. All my life, I wanted to
Ah,
be a gangster.
yes, Goodfellas, fantastic film.
Yes, I mean, this is one I say that this is probably the most rewatchable film of all time, just in generality, because of the way it's paced. It's you're literally telling Henry Hill's life from the time he's a kid to the time he grows up and becomes a gangster, and then of course through his life until he eventually rats on his friends, which is the one thing you don't do. I probably
Mhm,
quote this movie. I don't know if you'd mind me saying it, but this guy Tommy I work with, like this is his favorite film. He even took the last name moniker like of Jimmy Conway in this movie and used it as one of his like stage names.
mhm.
So we're always quoting this movie like you got to go back. I'm not saying you can't do what you want, but you got to go back. Like I just quote this. Now I got to turn my back on you. Very quotable movie. You were a little out of line yourself. You're a little out of line yourself.
I always love when they're digging the body up. When somebody says, I found a leg," and he's like, "Oh, I found an arm. I found a wing."
And he's throwing up because it's a fucking bomb.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Oh my god, it's so good. And I mean, listen, and also I'm from Long Island, New York. They live on Long Island, they're in Queens a lot. Like it's a very New York film, and the portrayal of the New York characters, Martin Scorsese being a New Yorker, I think that helps resonate with me. Why I think we've also discussed like Casino, like maybe being the
Mm,
superior film. They're very similar films.
mm.
Like and the way that they're edited and structured and I just give the edge, I think, to Goodfellas because of that. But I absolutely love this movie. I could put it. This is one like I don't get burnt out by it. I could always put on Goodfellas.
Yeah, yeah. It's really good. I mean, it's hard not to enjoy Goodfellas, as you say. It's very quick paced. I think I've said to you, John, as well. It's a movie of just montage.
Yeah, and which is true.
That's
Like,
all
and the
it is.
way that Martin Scorsese likes to do his movies, and it's something that people have like knocked against him is, the Rolling Stones. He always likes to put music over like a lot of stuff, but like pop music over a lot of like the scenes that he's doing. And I actually have always enjoyed that in film. I don't know if you enjoy that more than like when there's like an original score though.
It depends on the movie. It doesn't bother me. It works for Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Those kind of like, as you said, it's part of good. What works well for Goodfellas is because it does span someone's lifetime through the 50s, 60s, 70s. I think it goes into the early 80s, doesn't it? You can place the time period of the movie through playing the songs. So it works for that. A score wouldn't have worked for that movie. So that's why it works well with Goodfellas. The same with Forrest Gump. They done exactly the same thing. He does the same with Casino. So playing those songs throughout that movie, throughout those different time periods, as I say, it just sets the time period. It sets the tone. It sets the mood with the clothes and the cars and everything, and it probably feels a lot more real then. So that's why he does that. And I remember Scorsese sitting down and saying the first thing he does when he gets the script is he goes through it and he writes all the songs that he wants to use on each scene.
Yep. And he's got enough pull. He'll get that music, especially since he's close with a lot of musical artists.
Mhm.
Yep. But yeah, that's why I have it at number six. Terminator was my movie my mom introduced me to as one of my favorite movies. I was maybe 10. I was probably a little younger than you when my mother introduced me to Terminator, which just tells you
Mm.
everything you need to know about my mom. I watched T2. I've told the story a million times on a Saturday afternoon on TV, and I told my mom, and she's like, "Well, you got to watch the first one." And we went to the library and rented it, so that's why I ended up, for her 6-year-old son, I want to say, I have T2 DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. I don't have my Extreme Edition DVD anymore, which makes me sad. And T2 VHS too.
Yeah, but I
So
have T2 and VHS as well. And I uh I remember the first time I seen Terminator, I think I must have been about 9 or 10 years of age, maybe around 10 as well. I watched it with my dad. And after that, I became obsessed with it because we had recorded it off the television. I think I watched it like every weekend for like so many months in a row. This is before I had Jaws on VHS, by the way. So,
oh, okay.
okay, I wasn't cheating on her.
I was gonna say, what's funny is I noticed with the T2 VHS because my cousin Matt has it, and Studio Canal did that too. So Studio Canal's had the rights to Terminator for a very long time.
Yeah, I think that was the 3D scan, wasn't it? Was
Well,
that was the see the Studio Canal one? Did they not do, John? Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm near certain they done a 3D a 3D conversion of Terminator 2 and released it, and then Studio Canal took that and release that as the 4K and the Blu-ray, and that's why there has all those problems.
Exactly. That's exactly why
Yeah,
there's all those problems. They didn't restore the film grain because when you do it for 3D, you have to have you kind of erase all that, so it looks
right.
different for you. You know when you're gonna have 3D glasses on, but then when you watch it just at home like that, it's like, what the fuck is this? You know, what's up, John and David? What's
Yeah,
up, William? Thanks for
yeah.
popping in here, buddy.
Uh,
Just in
uh,
time for the top five.
Hi, William. William. Sorry, were you like the bin man at the start of the Terminator, where he goes, "What the hell?"
When I was watching that T2 4K for the
You
first
must be
time,
too. Yeah,
"Yo, what the hell was
you're
that?"
you're you're sitting there, you're just like looking at the TV. What the hell?
Oh, classic. So yeah, what's your number five?
Yes, mate. You just gave me when we go through the next one because I don't want to go too far ahead. Okay, so my number five is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. I have loved this movie since I was a kid, and then just really fell in love with it when I was a teenager, and it's been one of my favorite movies ever since. And it is my favorite trilogy of all time. It is Back to the Future.
Ah, I was wondering where Back to the Future was gonna pop in here. It's a classic. I mean, I understand why you love this movie so much.
Yeah, I just think of the Jim Carrey and the mask there. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
That's what I say. When I say it's a classic, I do that Jim Carrey kind of like, when he's pushing the car, the loner,
Yeah, the
it's a
Lona.
classic. The loner. Yeah, I mean, what can I say about Back to the Future? It seems to be one of those movies, John, as I say, I quoted you the other day because when we were talking, Bill Butler, who was the cinematographer on Jaws, he said when they were doing a retrospective on Jaws, I think it was the 30th anniversary, he had said that, there's been a lot of great movies made. He says, but the greatest test is the test of time. And I
Mhm.
feel as if Back to the Future, without a doubt, has, has survived that test of time. And I see more and more people, especially people maybe about 5, 10 years even younger than me, who maybe discovered this movie as kids, saying that Back to the Future is the best movie ever made. Back to the Future is a perfect movie. Back to the Future is a 10 out of 10 movie. And it really, really is. And it's so rewatchable. And thanks, Ben. You're right. Not only is it my favorite trilogy, it is the best trilogy of all time.
It's hard to debate that because when all three films are that high a quality, like usually there's a huge drop off by the third film. I'm looking at you, Dark Knight trilogy. But like that movie, the third one is my second favorite. So it's so rare that that happens. And you were Marty McFly last year for Halloween. That's awesome. And
Great Scott.
bring out the Lona. Great. Who's Doc?
Who's talking? Marty. But you know, I think I've said it before, and like I think a lot of people should go back and revisit the third movie. I think they would be pleasantly surprised of how well it holds up, how well made a movie it is, and how good a movie it is. I think it's got a lot of unnecessary stick over the years for being the third movie, for being a Western. But I just feel it's got more in line with the original movie than it does with the second movie.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the 4Ks are great as long as you don't have like I do the initial run of 4Ks, which are they all have the same universal problem lit from Universal Studios with a lot of the early 4K discs where they freeze in the middle, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, William saying there as well. That's what I find a lot of people saying.
Don't care for
But
the third one because this is
Mhm.
the Western, do you think?
I think so. I think because it's a Western. But not everybody likes westerns. I know I get that. Maybe that's part of the reason why I love the charm of it. I mean, I've always enjoyed westerns, and it has that great Alan Silvestri score in the third one as well. The western score he done.
I love that
But
theme too. The Western theme.
Mhm. I just really love how it rounds out the trilogy. We talked about this on our episode of. We've touched on it on other episodes, John, but we did talk a wee bit about it, I think, on our Back to the Future 2 episode, and how I like that the first movie is about George and Lorraine. The second movie is like Biff's movie, and the third movie is Doc's movie.
Yeah, you're right. And that you love that love story. You love that he gets the happy ending.
Yeah, when you think about that, and we're going to do Back to the Future 3 hopefully at some stage, but when you think about the fact that Doc was supposed to die in the first movie, right? But Marty saved him, and Clara was supposed to die as well, but they saved Clara. So you have two characters there that are kind of like should be dead. So it makes sense that they the two that get together and travel through time and space together because they're kind of like they're two kind of like missing people anyway.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I love it. But he said, William says, I love Westerns. I don't know what is about it. I'll just have to give it a rewatch in the latest 4Ks. I'm glad you got the latest 4K. I'm gonna have to pick them up at some point just to replace mine because they do have that freezing problem, and it is very frustrating.
Well, William, I don't know when's the last time you'd watched Back to the Future Part 3 or even the trilogy, but definitely, I mean, you should give it a rewatch. Maybe you'll reevaluate your
Hmm.
thoughts on it. I think a lot of people come back to movies and reevaluate. It's like when they done The Godfather Part 3 was getting a re-release and people watched it, and I heard reviewers and commentators and saying that, oh, it's not as bad as I remember. And I was thinking, yeah, because it never was as bad as you remember. You just were comparing it to the original Godfather 1 and 2, and it's pale in comparison. But Godfather 3 to me is still a good movie.
Came out the same year as Goodfellas too. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Still got some Academy Award nominations somehow. Uh, Andy Garcia, I guess, deserves it. My number 5 is Chinatown. Forget about it, David. It's Chinatown.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved this movie. Jack Nicholson, like yourself, one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Not my favorite Jack Nicholson film. We'll talk about that in a little while. But I still absolutely love this. It's a great noir film. John Huston is great. Mr. Gitz. Everyone is so good in this movie. Even though Roman Polanski, he might be a little bit of a piece of shit, he sure gave us a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's not one that I actually would revisit that often, John.
Really?
I would probably watch it because it's Nicholson, and I think he gives one of the best performances of his career back before he was Crazy Jack. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? When he was a wee bit more reserved, and it's got some great one-liners. He still has that cocky side the Nicholson we know, but it's a real serious movie, and it's a great period piece.
Yeah, it is a great period piece. It's so well directed. It looks beautiful, by the way. It's just another good 4K Blu-ray, but just like a beautiful looking film in general. I think about certain shots in the movie, just of the car driving with the sun setting. If you can
Mm,
capture that on film, it's just like for me, they call it the magic hour, and it works perfectly anytime you can get it. And there's a lot of shots like that in this movie. And just a movie that starts out like any classic noir. It seems so simple, a movie about water,
mm,
and then it turns into something so much more.
mhm. Yeah, I had it on DVD and I've been meaning to upgrade it, but I suppose it'll be one that I'll upgrade when I really want to watch it again. But I just haven't had the desire to do that. But yeah, it is a classic of the 70s, John.
Yep, and, yeah, the Icelandic Psycho is exactly right. It's got a great slip. I have that Blu-ray steelbook too and never got rid of it. What's up, buddy? Glad you could pop in here as well. Hello, John Keefe and Sir David. Oh, okay. That is right, that you call him sir because he is a man. He's absolutely the man. And, what's your
Sure.
number 4, sir?
Yeah. Yeah. My number 4 is a movie we have just done on Axis, John, our first ever episode of Axis. It is the greatest gangster movie ever made.
Mhm.
It is The Godfather.
You hard-hearted son of a bitch, you. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, listen, I love The Godfather. We talked so much about it. I'm glad it made your top 10 and top 5.
Yeah. Yeah, it is number 4 on my list. Again, another great classic genre movie in the conversation for one of the best movie of all time, best gangster movie of all time. And great performances, best picture winner. Again, it's another movie that we just discussed in Axis that I believe it, as you said, it's a very mature movie, and I think you can really appreciate it when you get older. Um, it was not a movie that when I watched when I was like a teenager that I just didn't appreciate at all until I get a bit older.
Yeah, no, I completely get that, and, it is one that you like that ages like a fine wine. It does get so much better when you get older too, especially going in from 1 to 2, which I agree with you always that 1 is, the superior film to 2.
Mm, yeah.
So, hey guys, how is the Hitchcock viewing going? So we both have started that.
Yeah, we're a few movies in. Still a lot of work to be done. Obviously, I mean, I went through the list, John. I think I might have been on, was it the last live? And I think I'd seen maybe out of the 20, I've seen 13 or 14 of the movies. So there's 6 I haven't seen, but it's a case of going back and revisiting a lot of them movies just to refresh my memory. And yeah, so it'll be a few months yet before we actually get to the actual finished ranking, because obviously John's watching movies to review, and when we're watching movies to do the other podcasts on as well in between.
Yeah, that's why we kind of wanted to space it out. Then you guys could follow along with us when we're doing it as well. So, the 20 movies, which what David will post on our YouTube page pretty soon, so you
Yes.
guys can check that out. So you know what we're doing as well. Hey guys, how's it going? In my opinion, Bill Bad Bunny killed it last night. Well, I thought it was a good halftime show as well, actually. Uh, Hello, did you two everyone like Immaculate 2024? Remake directed by Canadian film David Cronenberg. Give your opinions, please. I did see Crimes of the Future. Immaculate, I actually really did not like.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those movies because I'm not a modern movie type of person. I had to have to be hard pushed to go and watch a modern movie.
That's fair. I actually shot a video today talking about that, and I've talked with the Islamic Psycho about that as well. I just, as much as I love modern film, it's like they're the great ones are like few and far between a lot of like generic stuff that just doesn't. I get more excited now to watch like a new physical media version of a classic film, even if it's a classic film that I've never seen
Yeah.
before. I get more excited about that.
I really want to go back and start watching older movies, older classic movies. I have a load of older movies that I haven't got around to watch yet, which I've collected. And I've had a few recommended to me. The likes I was speaking to John today about Del Toro's Frankenstein. I wouldn't mind watching that. Then we seen the trailer to the Clint Booth movie, which I wouldn't mind giving a watch. But there's two movies basically at this moment in time, which is on my list to go to the cinema and watch. And I'm only going because I really want to go and watch them, and it's Michael and Spielberg's new movie. What's Spielberg's movie called again? I keep forgetting.
Deliverance Day?
Deliverance Day.
Is
Is
it
that what it's called?
Deliverance? Yeah, I think it's Deliverance Day. Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you see the Michael from the 90s that starred John Travolta?
No.
It's really bad, but the trailer for it was on the Mask VHS, and I'll never forget the trailer with Spirit in the Sky playing. That's how I found Spirit in the Sky.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm actually sitting thinking I wish that the Michael Jackson movie was called something different, because just saying I'm going to watch Michael, like someone says to me the other day, I says I want to go and see Michael, and I have a brother called Michael, and they were like, "Who your brother?" And I was like, "No, the movie."
I'm going to see about
They're like,
Michael
"What?"
Jackson.
I'm like, "No, I want to go watch the Michael Jackson movie. I want to
Why
go and
couldn't they
see
just?
Michael."
I was
They're
gonna
like,
say, you know what? It kind of sounds like a porno a little bit, but I'm like, my first thing that popped in my head was like, oh well, why didn't they just call it like Beat It or something? Like that's even worse.
that would be much worse. But I'm sure, like, Bohemian Rhapsody, they called Bohemian Rhapsody after the song. I'm sure
Yeah,
out of all the songs that Michael Jackson done, they could have thought of something to call it. You know what I mean? Like Human Nature or something.
Dirty Diana.
Dirty, yeah, you're thinking of
Got
the
a lot
dirty
of
one,
songs
right?
that sound really dirty.
Yeah, Speed Demon.
Speed Tea, that wouldn't be bad.
You know,
Mrs.
Just Good
Phelps did it.
Friends.
Hey, that works out. I mean, he's got to have some good friends. He was friends with the monkey for a while. Remember him?
Bubbles.
Bubbles. He was in one of the music videos too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, Librarian Girl.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I watched Rope and really enjoyed it. Rope is one of my favorites. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. I just saw the Max Man recently. Last silent film Hitchcock did pretty great. I got to watch more silent films.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to
Have
see.
you have you seen The Man That Laughs?
I haven't. So I got some stuff I got to make up for myself.
Who the
I only
who
Charlie
the,
Chaplin. I watched like most of his silent films.
who the Joker was loosely based on?
Yeah. I'm gonna have to see now. I have to watch it. Now you kind of pushed me to do it. Can't blame me if I really want to see old school Universal monster films. Yeah, you got to check those out. I have those on 4K actually. They are great. Disclosure. So it's Disclosure Day. So you were right.
Yeah.
Michael's a classic laugh out loud. Such a cheesy movie. Saw it in the movies with my cousin when it came out. Yeah, I'll just always remember the trailer. It's John Travolta plays an angel named Michael, but he's not a real he's not a classy angel. Is at that time after Pulp Fiction where Travolta was kind of getting all these movie roles like Phenomenon and a bunch of other stuff. Broken Arrow.
Oh yeah. Face Off.
Face Off, exactly, where it's like that second. Yeah, I want to take his face
off. That's a great suggestion, George. You should have called it what do you call your man? Keith Lemon. What did you call him? Bo Selecta. Did you think get Bo Selecta in America? Did you?
No, he didn't.
He done a show. There's a guy here in Britain actually. He done a show called Bo Selecta. It used to be on a Friday night where he would wear like rubber masks, and he used to reenact like famous people, and he used to reenact Michael Jackson, and he always used to say "Shamon, mother Shamon."
Jamona.
I all the time. It was so funny.
That is,
I must send you clips of it.
you have to, because now I have to know.
Yeah,
Paul
so
Bell
funny.
said his top 10 are The Man Who Knew Too Much, Long Kiss Goodnight, Wally, Stand By Me, The Gift, Poltergeist, True Grit. I'm sorry, I read The Gift. Like, I just see a TNG and fucking dyslexia kicked in. Poltergeist, King of Comedy, Back to the Future 1, Incredibles, and Shawshank Redemption. That is a good list.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
that
is.
is awesome. He says that I'm picking up Dark Blue on 4K Blu-ray. Funny enough, I'll tell you something about the movie Dark Blue. You ever seen it, starring Kurt Russell?
Um, I don't think I have, John.
So back in the day, I used to collect DVDs. That whole collection is gone, and I went to the video store to buy, like, you could buy used DVDs there, and they didn't really have a great selection, but I wanted to buy something that day, so I bought Dark Blue on DVD. Never watched it. Never watched that DVD. Now it's gone, and I still haven't seen it. Now it's getting a 4K.
Well, here's your chance.
Right? Maybe I
Right.
should at this point. I don't know. Uh, take his face. No more drugs for that, man. Classic movie film, favorite movie in that, and Hard Target. Hard Target, actually, I'm going to grab the 4K pretty soon because I still don't own it. It's a good one. What's up, Eli? Glad you could pop in here, buddy. So, what number were we up to? Your number five? My
So
four?
that was my number 4. You were on your number 4, John.
Okay. My number 4 is Paris, Texas, directed by Wim Wenders. Have you ever seen this one?
Paris, Texas? No.
No, big. I love this movie. I saw it for the first time. Like, it's the newest addition to my top 10. I saw it for the first time, I want to say, like, maybe 9 years ago. Uh,
Right.
just fell in love with it. I'm a big Western fan. This is not your classic Western. It's a neo Western, actually. And Wim Wenders is a German director,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow he captured America better than any American director could. And it's just an incredible tale. Like, a guy who basically walked out of his own life. Nobody knew where he was for years. His brother is raising his son, and because he just disappeared. The woman, his wife, dropped off their son for them to take care of him, and then he just randomly, somebody picked him up in the desert, and he's like a mute at the very beginning, like he doesn't even talk, and he's just like, and it's just basically him coming around and reconnecting with his son, reconnecting with his wife who disappeared as well. And there's a scene with because she works in a I guess, like, one of those two-way kind of things. They don't have them. They probably have them anymore. Like, where you go pay some money and, like, you can see a girl dance and everything. What do they call those,
Right.
peep shows kind of deal?
Right.
And he picks up the phone and, like, basically he's telling him their entire life story, and she doesn't realize it's him at first. And that entire scene, it's one of my favorite scenes in film history, and, like, just makes that movie for me. And the score is great. It's an incredible, incredible tale. Like, it's just like an emotional movie, like a movie that can immediately break me down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's why it's in my top 5.
I'm not sure I've even heard of it, John, to be honest with you.
Oh, man, one day you gotta see it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously it's a little hard for me to bounce off you with that one, but if anyone's never seen Paris, Texas, it's got a Criterion 4K, another 4K. I think the Criterion Blu-ray is better than the 4K, but I've always loved that movie. Well,
Mm-hmm.
the last
Mm-hmm.
9 years since I've seen it.
When did it come out?
1984, another
Oh,
1980s movie.
so it's an 80s movie too. I was thinking it was maybe like a recent movie.
No, it's an 80s movie. Like, I always, how I found it because I love the 80s, and, like,
Mm.
1984 is one of the best years in film. And, I found that just by accident, like, just kind of put it on and, like, had no expectations for it at all.
Mhm.
And I just, like, holy shit, this is an incredible film.
Mhm.
And it's like a heartwarming film too. But even though I don't want to say the ending, but I mean, it's just, I love it
Mhm.
because I don't want to spoil it. So, top 10 movies that I love for Emmanuel are Toy Story, The Grinch, The Lion King 94, love that. Batman 22, No Way Home, Endangered Casper, Mrs. Doubtfire, Frankenstein, The Incredibles, Big Daddy, Ratatouille, and The Polar Express. That's a great one. Sully Streams. What's up, buddy? How we doing, fellas? My favorite DVDs from back in the day are the original Jurassic Park movies with
Mhm.
embossed metallic covers. Pure bliss.
Yeah, I have a box set of the Jurassic Park trilogy, which is in a nice kind of like green kind of box set, and and there's like a hole in the middle where the emblem is, and you slide it out and it folds out, and it's beautiful. Like, it is a DVD, and I've cowholed onto it, even though I've got the Blu-rays, just because of that packaging.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I I wish I had your collection. That's amazing that you hung on to that.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was one that I knew I just wanted to keep just for the way it looked, mate. And I am looking out for the 4Ks. I believe they're going to release them individually this year. Is that right?
They are. I actually, if anyone's a channel member here on this channel, I actually reviewed the first three last year in the trilogy. They did 1, 2, and 3 on 4K and World. I didn't buy World, but I pre-ordered World through Amazon. It was like on sale for $18, and I got the original Jurassic Park as well for $15 for the giveaway that we do on the channel here. So next in March, which will be for April, that giveaway will include Jurassic Park, because for $15, I think it's a solid 4K, and it's just the logo on the cover. That's all you need to do with that movie.
That's all I want. I just want the original box art, and that'll do me in 4K. That's all I want.
Yep, that's all you need. It's simple. When you create a logo like that, like Batman, you don't need to do more.
Yeah.
True Cinemax says, I haven't seen Paris, Texas yet, but I love Perfect Days by Wim Wenders. Man is exquisite director. Yes, he is. I love that movie too. Perfect Days is fantastic. Definitely a good one. 10 films that I love to watch: A History of Violence, Drive. Oh, I love to drive. But The Specialist, Train Spotting, John Carpenter's Vampires, Goodfellas, River's Edge, and Batman: The Dark Knight Rises from 2012. That one is a little iffy for me. The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, I think, in The Dark Knight are a little better, but I appreciate that. What's up, Stacy? Happy Valentine's Day. And you said Valentine 2001 underrated. Again, I read it wrong. So, what are we up to? Your number 3?
We're up to my number 3, John. And this is one I think we can both agree on, what we've covered on the channel. It is Batman.
My number 3 as well.
Your number 3 as well, conveniently. So there we go. We agree on something.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, our whole podcast, friendship's just based on this one movie, on this one ranking. Everything else is just up in the air.
Exactly. I mean, it seems like our top 10s are very different, but I mean, we do overlap. That's the thing about film, though. We love so many movies. Like, we could probably sit here, you and I, and do a top 100, but we still somehow will end up back at Batman 89.
Yeah, exactly. No, listen, like I say, I reckon the further we go down, we will find in and around the same type of movies. It's just our top 10s are completely different. Well, not completely different, but we have different tastes in different areas for different reasons. But Batman, again, one of those nostalgic movies that meant a lot to me growing up. It got me. Well, I was already in the movies, but that was one of the ones that that really made me fall in love with films, and it also got me into comic books and Batman in general. And yeah,
Yeah.
so that.
I mean, we've done a lot on Batman 89. We did a stream on it. I mean, we did a show on it. Then we did the Rewind series, our first episode of the Rewind series on Batman 89, where we broke the entire film down. I mean, it's a movie I've loved my entire life. I really can't say anything bad about it. Jack Nicholson is incredible as the Joker. I agree with you. It's the best Batman film ever released. Tim Burton created a world there. And of course, the Prince soundtrack, which David and I did a live show where we ranked all the songs on that soundtrack last month as well. So if you want to hear us break that down and get real scandalous, you can do that.
Yeah. And I think the one of our very, very early shows was about Batman. And I think we had discussed in that why we love it so much. And part of the reason I love it is just, movie making as an art form. And I just feel as if I can agree that Batman isn't of the quality of, say, The Godfather or, or movies like that. Nowhere near it. But what it does do is that it takes the movie making art form and puts it all up on the screen. It's not so much about the story or anything like that. It's just more to do with the aesthetic of it, the look of it, the feel of it, the tone, how Gotham City looks, the costumes, the makeup, and of course Danny Elfman's score as well. All adds to that. All that just fascinates me. And another thing about it too is that I just find it endlessly rewatchable. I always enjoy that movie from start to finish anytime I put it on. Watch it about once a year in the around autumn time, and I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, no, and it's never boring. I put that on a lot of times throughout the year. Like, even if I just put on like half the movie, like to go to bed or something, it's comfort food for me. But I also can watch, like, I saw it in theaters last year when they re-released it with the new Dolby Vision scan, which somehow is not on 4K yet. And it was just like seeing it on the big screen. It was like It's not the first time I've seen it on the big screen either, but this time it was like this movie is just it's perfect to me.
And I think the Christopher Nolan Batman generation, they don't realize how this movie was such a game changer in terms of comic book movies at the time. Okay, when we can look back, in hindsight, with 2020 vision and go, it's a bit dated. Maybe Nicholson's a bit over the top, or the story wasn't that great, but the whole idea of taking a comic book movie and making it serious and putting serious actors in it and playing it straight, um, had never really been done before. I mean, we had Superman, but Batman just took it that next step up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Mr. The Islamic Psycho says, I prefer Batman Returns. Love Batman Returns as well. I
Yes.
know David does also. We're big fans of that. Like, I've always liked it's weird. I love Batman Returns, but I've never in my life had Batman Returns above Batman. I've always just loved Batman. It's a real and I like Batman Forever a lot too. And I know you do. You got that classic poster still. But
Mhm.
and it's just that Batman, it's one of those special films in my opinion. Um yeah, where does he get those? George says, where does he get those wonderful toys?
Where does he get those wonderful toys? Um, and yes, I actually seen Batman Returns in the cinema upon release, and I enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the original. And as I say that, I was a Batman fan then as a child. I became a Batman fan because of the Burton movie, and at that particular time they were showing reruns of the '60s television show. So when Batman Returns came out, I went to see that, couldn't wait to see it. Then Forever came out 3 years later. I went to see that and just never didn't think it was as good. It was more kid friendly. I didn't think it was as good as the first two. And then by that stage, it was like '97, and I was turning 16. I'd kind of fell out of love with them movies then, but still held a special place in my heart for the original Batman and Batman Returns. And then came back to Forever about 10 years later, John, and kind of not that I got it. It was just more kind of, you know what? If you think of this movie as not part of the Burton verse, because my whole gripe with the Batman Forever was that this doesn't feel like the Burton verse, even though it's supposed to be. And it's because they lightened the whole thing up. But when I came back to years later and thought, if you don't think of this as the Burton verse, if you think of it as just its own thing, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's very much the Schumacher movies. Like you got to kind of say, even though certain characters overlap, like as far as like actors, like obviously we have Michael Go and what's his name? I always say his name wrong. It's not
Pat
Barry.
Hingle, not
Pat
Barry Pringle.
I was
No,
gonna say Barry Pringle
I,
again. I was gonna do it again.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't think there's anyone. I just think I'm an asshole.
There's nobody called Barry Pringle. There's bound to be someone somewhere, but you don't know who he is either.
Yeah, he's like, how do people? Why are you talking about me on a show? I'm like, I don't know your name.
Barry Pringle.
I'm telling you, it's the only thing I get.
Oh
Oh
God.
man,
But yes, Pat
Cowabunga,
Hingle.
dude. Pat
Yeah,
Hingle, they
Pat
overlap.
Hingle. Yeah.
uh,
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your point, John. Finish
oh
your
no,
point.
I'm just gonna read out Cowabunga dude's movies, which
Go ahead.
his thumbnail looks like me in the winter. Some movies I love: Beastmaster, Predator, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Tremors, which is a good one. Oh brother, where art thou? That is some great ones.
Yeah.
Definitely love those. I prefer. Okay, I already read that
Yeah.
one.
Bassmasters. That's how that was.
I
So
like
favorite
Batman
show.
89 more and more.
Yeah.
It goes up. It's one of the best.
Yeah.
And Batman Forever, yes, I enjoy it. Feels a bit wasted potential in a way. Great deleted scenes, which you've heard about them having that different cut, the Schumacher cut of the movie, right?
Yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah, I'm not holding my breath, but I've heard about it.
Yeah, which is fair. Like, it's just
Yeah.
maybe we'll get it. Keaton was great in The Flash. Shame the movie sacked apart from every scene with Keaton. You know, I don't know if you've seen The Flash, but my problem with seeing, and I loved Keaton in it, I thought he was great. It's just you kind of took Batman and put him in that universe, like the Snyderverse, and it's like it that Batman doesn't feel right out of that Gotham City, if that makes sense. That's
Hmm.
what kind of hurt it for me.
Hmm. Well, I haven't seen it. I've seen the clips, and I agree with you there, John. I always feel as if Burton should just The Batman's Burton should just stay in his own kind of universe. There shouldn't be Metropolis. There shouldn't be other superheroes flying in. It feels a wee bit more, even though it's a fantasy movie, but it feels a wee bit more grounded than all that kind of stuff. So it should just stay in its own universe. And I also feel as if, as well, as that in Burton's universe, he shouldn't have a Robin. You know what I mean? It's just Bruce Wayne on his own. The only people who should know about him is Alfred, and that's it. But one thing I do want to say as well, and I've touched on this before, is that we've now got the place now with multiverses that we can kind of look at Burton and Schumacher as two separate entities or two separate universes. Whereas, like, that was never the intention. The intention was that Batman Forever was a sequel to Batman Returns, as was Batman and Robin was a sequel to Batman Forever. That's why you have Michael Goff and Pat Hingle as the same characters.
Yeah, it's like the through line. And I always say about Batman Forever, which is crazy, is that Val Kilmer says how Alfred's a great mechanic. I just can't believe he has Alfred working underneath those cars at that age.
Yeah. And I've heard you mention this, but I was thinking about this. You mentioned it, I think, in one of your other podcasts, and I was thinking about this, but that's a Schumacher problem because in Batman Returns, Batman is fixing the car, not Alfred.
Yeah, you're right. That is a good point. I mean, Alfred does come down there and clean up, and he's a great cook, obviously. But I mean, this guy, man, he's pretty old. You gotta let him rest. Why don't you have other people like that? That house is huge.
Yeah. We RSVP this invitation from the odious Max Dragon.
Oh man, I preferred Batman '89's Return. The other sequels I hated. The 1997 film Batman and Robin, hated that film. Worst film George Clooney actor ever.
Yep.
Yeah, what's funny is I saw that was the first Batman film I saw in theaters, and the theater itself closed down right after. And I have always blamed Batman and Robin for that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Batman and Robin, I can't have.
Oh, he did a fan edit of Batman Forever myself. Have it on my hard drive. That's awesome. I've actually never gone in and like done fan edits like that, but it's pretty cool when people have the time to do that and the talent.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to our number twos then.
Okay, number two. You won't be surprised, John. I think I've discussed this with you. My number two is Psycho.
Ooh, so I wonder where that's going to rank in your Hitchcock rankings.
Right enough. So I'll probably just give a big spoiler away there. That Psycho is my second favorite movie of all time, and it has been up there for me for the last, I don't know how long, 30 years or so since I've seen it. So has it been that long? My God, has it been that long? Maybe not 30 years, maybe less than that, just under 30 years. But yeah, what can I say? I mean, if Jaws wasn't my favorite film of all time, I would have to give it to Psycho. It is, when we say dated, I don't want to say it's unwatchable. It's of its time. It's clearly a 1960s, late 50s movie. But what Hitchcock actually done with that film was just push the boundaries of cinema, and reinvented the horror, the modern horror movie, or invented the modern horror movie. You can trace a lot of horror movies that came out in the 70s and the 80s, and the 90s, you can trace the lineage all the way back to Psycho in 1960. And one thing for me about that movie is that it still works. It really does still work, even though it's of its time. And you've got to kind of get past that. Not so much the black and white. You got to get past the way the actors kind of, the dialogue, the way they speak to each other. But apart from that, the acting is solid. It's still scary. Hitchcock is just, push the boundaries by using montage and creating suspense, and it has an all-time classic score. So for me, like, yeah, it's just up there. I mean, if it's one of those movies that I always get excited to show people if they've never seen it before.
Yeah, I mean, it's one that I see what you're saying about it being dated, but it is one of those films that has completely stood the test of time, in my opinion. And yeah, and the sequel is Psycho 2 is an underrated sequel. We've
It
discussed
is.
that many times about how much we like Psycho 2 and how underappreciated it is. But like a lot of classic films, when you get a sequel, it's always going to live in the shadow of Psycho, which is, one of the greatest films ever.
We done an episode on Psycho 2 on the channel, so if you're interested, you should check that out. The Icelandic Psycho, is that what your name is? Yeah. And yeah, but when I say data, that's why I don't want to say data, because people sometimes take data to mean bad. But I suppose that's maybe not the right word I should have used, because what I mean is that it's quite clearly of its time, you know. Just like I think Halloween is quite clearly of its time.
Yeah.
So,
But I think the flaws, I know people love Halloween. You and I both have discussed this, but I think the flaws in Halloween are noticeable where it's hard to find many flaws in Psycho.
well, I you talk about perfect movies. You said about Back to the Future earlier. I personally don't think Back to the Future is a perfect movie, but I think there's a very few perfect movies that have been made. Very a handful, but I believe that Sego is one of them, 100%. I mean, every single shot in that movie is meticulously planned, and every edit is perfect. And when you talk about being of its time, yes, there was a crane shot at the start which Hitchcock couldn't do, so he had to kind of fade into it. Okay, is it a flaw? It's not a big deal. Plus, the end and the fight at the end is a wee bit lame, but it's because again, it's of its time. So to me, Psycho's a perfect film, a perfect thing, John.
There's only
Divine.
you got to say the quote now. What are the two perfect things?
One of the two most perfect things in this world is Psycho and Misery's Child.
Mr. Child.
The Divine.
They're divine.
Yeah, I gotta go and put on my Bernard Herrmann records.
It's gonna be all through the air tonight.
There's gonna be horror in this house all night.
Oh, that's great. So my number two, I know you know this one as well, is Pulp Fiction, directed by Quentin Tarantino, who is my favorite director of all time, and this is my favorite of his films. And if the Terminator didn't exist, this would be number one. But Terminator does exist, and I love that movie. And it's just that I watched Pulp Fiction. I had already seen the Terminator and Terminator 2 so many times, but by the time I caught up to Pulp Fiction, I was a little bit older, like not in my teen. I was like 12, which is still young, but it was the first movie to make me notice like filmmaking. I'm seeing a
Mm,
movie told non-linearly, like these characters are like talking like how like normal people. The MacGuffin of like what's in the freaking briefcase with them, about
yep.
movies, that's you don't have to ask that question at all. Like it's just he puts it in there. It's just that's all it is just a MacGuffin. It's just something for these people to like go after. But the way these characters speak to each other, like just in the
Mhm.
car, it's like they feel like even though they're hitmen, they kind of feel like regular people. And then like
Yes.
the things they get into, and yeah, it's not. This isn't a perfect film. It's funny because I know you and I are both fans of the rewatchables, and it's like a
Yes.
flawed character in a perfect film. And Bruce Willis's girlfriend in this movie has always stuck out as like, wow, you couldn't cast anyone better. Like, yes, she's so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to be negative on it, because I love Pulp Fiction as well. And I think that was one of the movies that used to be in my top 10 many years ago, John. I would have to have a hard think about where I would put Tarantino movies. Um, I mean, I think I've said it before. My favorite's Reservoir Dogs, and in recent years, I put Jackie Brown above this. And part of the reason being, again, not to be negative, is that whole middle part with Willis and his girlfriend, it feels so slow. It's
It,
so slow and laborious, and it probably doesn't last that long, but it feels like it.
no, I'm literally 100% with you. Like that's why I can't say it's a perfect film. Like you want to talk, that's I the whole time they're in the room talking about getting pancakes. Like once he goes out on his own and he
Blueberry
ends up,
muffins.
yep, yeah, exactly. Then by the time he goes out on his own, like in this, you get to this said spiders just caught a couple flies.
Spiders just caught a couple of flies.
And then the late Paul Green, Peter Green in that, like,
Yeah.
oh, that whole sequence is, first of all, it's very fucked up, but Marcellus Wallace going in there after that. You all right? I'm
Yeah.
far from all right. I'm about to go medieval on their ass.
Yeah. And what about that Seiko shot of him walking across the road?
Oh yeah, you're
And
right.
stops and
Complete.
turns. That
I
that's Marion Crane at seeing her boss.
Do you know what I always think of? I'm sure you probably, and I think George might get it too. The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah, the big party.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so funny. Yeah. And he stops. He's like, motherfucker. Yeah. But look, I was a wee bit negative there about it. That's all I want to say about the negativity. But I agree. Listen, this movie is outstanding. It is one of the best movies ever made. Um, And, you know, it's one of those movies I feel as if when you talk about 90s movies, this movie will be one of those movies people will talk about, which defined that decade. This was the movie that basically made Quentin Tarantino a superstar. His name was in everybody's household, like Spielberg or Scorsese or George Lucas after he made this movie. He was on the map with Reservoir Dogs, but people still didn't really know who he was. This was the movie that really introduced him, and he hasn't looked back since.
No.
And for me, it is up there. His top three movies of all time. It's all, you know. I just you can maybe debate about order, but yeah, it's so good. Such a great film.
Yeah, I've always like I've never done heroin in my life, but like when he's like about to shoot up and they're editing between him and the car driving like in high and they got that song playing because the music choices are all great. It's like
Yes.
you can feel it like when you can create the atmosphere and the tone like that, like it's something it's special, and that's why I've always just really enjoyed the movie. And I don't think the movie would work as well if it was told linearly. So it's actually that was a creative decision that I think works as well.
Well, that was the smart thing about it. And the thing about that as well, John, was that, you know, once this movie came along, everybody wanted to be Tarantino. Everybody was trying to do what he was doing in that movie. That's how powerful that film became. And again, you mentioned the music, the soundtrack, just like Goodfellas, he uses music to set the mood and the tone. I know all filmmakers do it, but he didn't use a score. He used songs to set the mood and the tone of the movie. And I always remember that soundtrack was such a big soundtrack when it came out at the time. Everybody was listening to it.
Yeah, Jungle Boogie. I mean, it's got a great soundtrack. Ah, you're right. It's such a good film. Um, and Truce and Mac, Pulp Fiction is still my favorite Tarantino. Django second. Can't wait for the whole bloody affair on 4K. I think we have the same top three, you and I, David, where we both like the 90s films just in different orders. Like I think that his first three films are still his best in
Mhm,
my opinion. And then I like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at four, but I love Kill
mhm,
Bill. I love Django. I love The Hateful Eight. I love all
mhm.
his films, even Death Proof. Like it's not his best. I think it's his worst, but Inglorious Bastards is one I think people overrate a little bit.
Yeah. I be to be honest with you, I love his first three. I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. After a second watch, the first time I was like, I don't know if I like this, and I had to watch it again. I love the Hateful Eight, even though it's it got a lot of loopholes and rewatches. But apart from that, his other movies, I don't care much for. I didn't particularly like any of his other movies. What I will say about
You there? You froze? Oops. You guys can hear me, right? I might have to remove David real quick. He might have to come back in. Yeah, he might have to come back in real quick. You guys can still hear me though, right? Um, I remember this being some criticism of Tarantino was romanticizing heroin, but I'm like, did you see what happened? Yeah, no, like that's the one thing is I don't think he was romanticizing heroin. I was thinking like, that he does show you exactly what can happen. And when you like the adrenaline shot to the heart is one of the hardest sequences to watch. And yet, you, what's it called? And yet it's still kind of, scares the hell out of you. Like you don't actually see it hit the heart or anything like that. They cut away at the exact sequence. It's like kind of the criticism about Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas, and that people have always criticized how he is what's it called? I think David's back. You can hear me now?
hello. Yes, I can hear you, mate. Yes, we just cut out there for a second. Don't know what happened.
Yeah, I'm glad you're back. Just a real quick
Yeah.
hiccup. But I was talking to him about talking to them about like how they criticize Tarantino saying that like romanticized heroin. It's like how people say Goodfellas romanticizes being in the mafia, but the entire third act when Henry's on the run, it's like him on coke and he kind
Mm.
of edits it to feel that way, and then he gets caught. It's like nobody wins in that movie, so it's like I don't think it romanticizes it. And yeah, like they're showing you the highs of it, but it's also like look what this life will lead to.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do that in The Godfather. You know, say that about The Godfather, it's romanticized, but when you really watch the movie, okay, if you take The Godfather as like part one and part two is one movie, which is about couple of events he intended, Michael doesn't end up in a good place. And that's romanticized about that. He lost his whole family. He lost his brother. He lost his wife. You know what I mean? So, Yeah, but Tarantino's always get criticized for the violence in his movies. I feel as if it's because his movies were so popular. If they weren't so popular, they probably wouldn't have. He probably wouldn't have got criticized as much. As I said about Jack, I was just going to say about Jackie Brown just briefly. Was I was at that radius to go and see it, and I was expecting to see another Pulp Fiction. And when I went in and I watched it, I was so disappointed. Really didn't like it when I first seen it, but
Me neither.
yeah, but I went back and I revisited it a few years later. I always had it in VHS because I have them three soundtracks and I had the three movies on VHS as well. So, but when I got older, about 10 years ago, I bought the DVD, the Blu-ray box set, which had Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, and the Kill Bill movies. And I watched Jackie Brown again as an older man, and it just all kind of like clicked for me. I was just like, I really love this film. I love that it's about the two stars of the movie are two older people that feel like their best years are behind them and
Ugh.
are searching for something, searching for more, searching for a better life. And that just kind of clicked with me, and I just absolutely love that movie now. And that is why I mean I love every part of that movie from start to finish, and that is why I just feel as if I have to put it above Pulp Fiction. Going back to what you were saying there, John, about these three are in our top, or sorry, them three are in our top three, but just in different orders. And that's basically the reason why I related to it more.
I mean, listen. I think that's a big part of Jackie Brown. You're 100% right. And it's not just the two leads, like not just Pam Grier and Robert Forster, I think is his name, but
Mm-hmm.
also Robert De Niro. Like all of them
Yes.
aging up, and like like when Samuel Jackson kills De Niro, and he's like, "What happened to you, man? Used to be beautiful." Like I'm like he got burnt out and like fucked himself up, and it's like Samuel Jackson is scary in that movie. Like the way he's able to
Yeah.
manipulate people to do exactly what he wants. Like that's a scary and it's such an underrated performance. And then that
Yep.
one also has a great soundtrack as well. So yeah, I love Jackie Brown also. Like
Yep.
again, it's like, we're talking favorite films. I love just all three of those movies. And like the Islamic Cycles, Tarantino is also one of my favorite directors. Me and my buddy actually screamed yes in the cinema when Cliff gets the upper hand at the end scene, like we were watching a live battle. I do love the way that movie
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah.
So, do you want to like do one more? Because we said we would do like one, like just like one little last little thing before we get out of here. Like because instead of we already told you guys our number ones, Jaws for David, Terminator for me, but we thought
Yeah.
we'd give you guys like one, like what would be our number one honorable mention.
Well, do you know what, mate? I've been sitting for the last hour with movies going swirling around in my head. And maybe if I had to suggest this to you before the live stream, I could have thought about it better. But I can't really pick one. You know, I might just have to go through a few movies that I feel could be in my next top 10, but I'm not sure which order. I just have to say that, at this, when I start getting in this stage, I'm a bit of a sequel junkie. You know what I mean? I love a lot of sequels. Movies that could be in there for me could be the likes of Terminator 2 or Aliens, Jaws 2. Big fan of Jaws 2, of course. Sego 2. But I also love movies like RoboCop and The Goonies is one of my favorites. I love the Indiana Jones, The Temple of Doom, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Movies like that. So, and then also horror. I love horror. Some of my favorite horrors, the likes of the Nightmare on Elm Street, is one of my favorite horrors. It's up there for me. And movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and The Fly. So, to be honest, I honestly don't know, John, which would be coming in at number 11 for me. I'd have to have a serious think about it.
No, that's fair. And you know what? I'll just do the same thing as you anyway, because I'm looking in here, like, what do I want to talk about? Like I have like kind of on this list that I have Malcolm X is my favorite biographical film of all time, directed by Spike Lee, my favorite Spike Lee film. My favorite comedy of all time didn't make my top 10, but I know you're a big fan. Dumb and Dumber, another movie that I
Yeah.
quote all the time, every single day in my life. Like I literally said yesterday, there's not a job in this town, not a nothing, zip. Yeah, unless you want to work 40 hours a week. Mm, yeah, he says Jaws 2 underrated sequel as well. Love the PTS
Yep.
storyline. I think it works.
Yeah. Well, I always feel as if those three leads in the original movie, Shader, Sean, Dreyfus, are perfect. They're absolutely brilliant, and they play the roles well. But I also feel like Roy Shader as Martin Brody in the second movie, he takes it to a different place. And in a lot of ways, I like his version of Brody and Jaws 2 more than Brody and Jaws 1. But they're two different portrayals in a lot of ways.
the scene of him like trying to when he's laying it all out for the mayor and everybody, and it's like they're just like looking down on him. Is like
Yeah.
that's a heartbreaking scene because he's fucking right, and everything he did for that town, like for them to like kind of cast him aside again, is crazy.
Yeah, the speech he gives, that's the best scene in the movie.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
That like that's why, again, like these are things for being friends with you. Like I learned to appreciate these movies more. So yeah, I love that. Samsonite. I was way off. Yeah, it's just such
Yeah.
a quotable movie.
But if you talk about like favorite comedies, that's what I'm saying. I would have to sit down and have a serious think, John, because I, I mean, we just talked about Tarantino. I mean, would I have one of his movies at 11, or would I have another Spielberg movie because Spielberg's my favorite director? Or I don't have any real comedies in here. What's my favorite
No,
comedy? Should that creep in? I mean, I've said
that's how
the
it was hard to make a list. I was thinking the same thing because I didn't have like you have Psycho. I don't have a horror movie on here. My highest ranking horror movie, my favorite's Candyman. That's in my top 15. So again, Poltergeist. I told you I love Poltergeist.
yeah,
Poltergeist. I was like maybe that gets in the top 10. It's tough though because I do love Poltergeist. That would be my favorite Spielberg film if he actually directed it. Like
yeah.
it's obviously not technically, but I love that movie. I love that Jerry Goldsmith score. I could watch that all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. So if I start thinking about like comedies, what are my favorite comedies? Do they creep into my top 20? Like I love Spinal Tap. I love The Naked Gun. Airplane is another great one. You talk about Jim Carrey. My favorite of his is The Mask. And I know it's not an out and out comedy, it's more of a comedy fantasy comic book movie. But if I was to pick one Jim Carrey movie, that would be it. And then there's Ace Ventura. So there's some really good comedies to think of as well. And then Beverly Hills Cop is another movie that I absolutely love.
So I'm actually doing a list of top 10 comedies I'm gonna do here on the channel. Like I didn't include Beverly Hills Cop and The Mask because I'm like, are they too much in other genres? Like I felt like Coming to America is probably more of a pure comedy compared to like Beverly Hills Cop being an action comedy. The Mask is also a comic book film, so it's also like trying to play in other genres. Whereas
Yeah.
like Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber, straightforward, like joke after joke after joke
Yes.
after joke. Like he's never serious in Ace Ventura.
And the thing I find too, again, this is an age thing. The older I get, the less comedies I watch, the less times I revisit comedies.
I know you love the
Um,
Cable Guy, probably because of you and George, right?
yeah, we love the Cable Guy as well, another great one. And what was the other one there? I was going to say, and of course, George, A Shot in the Dark, Inspector Clouseau movies as well,
Mhm.
another great set of comedies. But
Oh,
the
man.
the the, the Poltergeist sequels, I personally am one of the very few the Atlantic Seiko. I'm one of the very few that loves Poltergeist 3, even though a lot of people slated it. But I keep calling it Seiko 2. Sorry, Poltergeist 2 is worth a watch. It's not bad. It's nowhere near as good as the original, but it's a good follow up.
Yeah, I think Poltergeist 2 is good. I don't love it nearly as much as the first one. The third one I've told David, and I know David like feels a little different about it, is like I have a hard time watching 3 because Catherine O'Rourke died during the filming, and the directors come out and said that they didn't want to finish the movie and they were forced to, and it's hard for me to not get that out of my head. And I think if I can, I think I would enjoy it more. And the remake should just not exist.
Yeah, blah, blah. I've no interest in watching the remake. I don't see the point. The first one's perfect. There's no need to remake it. It's like remaking Psycho. Who would ever do that?
And oh my god, and you wouldn't make a shot for shot remake, would you, with a comedian in the lead?
Well, if you were gonna remake it, you wouldn't do it shot for shot. If you were.
God damn it. Does David and John enjoy these French extremely horror films like Trouble, Every Day, Marty's, In My Skin, Haunt Tension, Fortnite, and Raw from 2016? So I've only seen Raw out of these movies. I don't really watch I'm getting into a little bit more foreign horror films, but I don't really watch too much. I think High Tension's a foreign one as well that I like, but
Yeah.
haven't really seen that.
Yeah.
Black Sheep. Do you like Black Sheep? I
Yeah.
think
No,
Tommy Boy's better.
yeah. No, I haven't seen that. And I don't watch foreign movies, to be honest. I've too many American movies to catch up on, John.
Yeah, it's hard. I do watch a good amount of foreign films, but like it's like I don't have the greatest eyes, so sometimes getting building up to watching movies with subtitles, I gotta like work for it because I know that I'm gonna have to sit a little closer to the TV and everything to watch them. So, like my favorite foreign film is Cinema Paradiso. As a film fan, if you guys have never seen that, it's like just like a love letter to movies. I suspect everyone, yet I suspect no one.
Yeah, the old Pavlova of the parallels.
Mhm. um, I gotta
Uh,
watch that. Oh man, John, how good is the Candyman sequel? Is it good to the first one? Now, there's two Candyman. There's the Candyman 2 and Candyman 3 that are like direct sequels to the first Candyman, which are not very good. Now, the Candyman remake directed by Nia DaCosta that came out like 5 years ago, I actually really like. I think that's worth it. Favorite Brian De Palma film? Do you have one, David?
well, first of all, just want to say, with the last guy saying about Candyman, I thought for a second it was John Candy. Just seen Candy, and we forgot to mention his movies as comedies.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like Planes, Trains, Uncle Buck. You know,
those are my two favorite John Candy movies, both directed by John Hughes.
me too as well. But favorite Brian De Palma movie? Um, Let me have a think. Scarface just springs to mind right away when I think about Brian De Palma. So probably Scarface.
Yes, I would go probably. I think Blowout's my favorite one. Blowout, then Scarface, and then Body Double's a great one too.
Yeah. I also like Carlito's Way.
Oh, Carlito's Way. How the fuck did that skip my mind? Yes, Carlito's Way is above Body Double. Actually, Carlito's Way is great. That's one I've came around. Dark Star, I have seen it. That's a good John Carpenter. I feel like that's more like a proof of concept for John Carpenter. It's good, but it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, I think it's been described as the best ever student film ever made.
Yeah, and it feels like that. Oh,
But that kind of feels like a backhanded compliment, but it was the guy that made it said that.
yeah, he said it himself. I mean, but like
Well, it was Dan O'Bannon.
Down O'Bannon. It feels like the kind of movies that not John, that James Cameron got started on. Like kind of like remember he got started on
Roger
those.
Corman.
Yeah, it kind of feels like something out of that vein, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was Dan O'Bannon who wrote Alien. It was him and Carpenter made it. Well, I think that he had a lot to do with it. Maybe he helped write it, but Carpenter directed it.
Yeah.
I think he starred in it as well.
Yes, he did. And a lot of people, Abel Ferrara used to do that with his movies too before he was able to actually pay actors. You know? So if you watch Driller Killer, the lead actor is Abel Ferrara, and he's not the greatest actor, even though he was just in Marty Supreme. The Untouchables is a classic too. I do like The Untouchables a lot.
Mhm.
So,
I feel like I'm forgetting some Brian De Palma movies, to be honest. At the minute.
um, he's got The Untouchables is a great one. Which one? I'm trying to think off the top of my head too. Which other ones he's got? Double Identity that's another one, right? By him, or what is that one called? I have it too. Ugh, drawing a blank. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah. Well, if it's not coming straight to my mind, then it must be just like Scarface for me. Yes, Carrie's great, but I would probably put Scarface, Carlito's Way, and then maybe Carrie.
Carrie's a good one too. That's a very
Yeah.
good one. Blowout, the Blu-ray to 4K thing really hurt me because the week I bought the Blu-ray, about 3 days later, the 4K was announced, and I love Blowout, so I had to buy it.
Actually, I'm just thinking he done Dress to Kill. That's the one
That's
I'm
the movie
trying to
I
think
was
of.
thinking of too.
Dress to Kill, which is basically his kind of like him trying to do Psycho, and it's just
Oh, Mission
weird.
Impossible. We forgot Mission Impossible. He directed the first one.
Hmm.
That's a classic too. I love the first Mission Impossible. It's not my favorite Mission Impossible. I still give Ghost Protocol the edge on that. Are you a Mission Impossible guy?
I haven't seen it. Then want to say.
Son of a bitch.
Anytime I go quiet on it means I haven't seen it.
Ah,
That's why I didn't mention it though. I was like, I remember when it came out, and I just think at that age, I was like, oh, Mission Impossible, that TV show. I don't want to
oh my
watch that.
god. You know that one is actually in the fight with James Bond for my favorite franchise ever. I love the Mission Impossible. Every film is good. Even the John Woo 2, which I used to really knock, is still pretty good.
Yeah, and listen, I've heard that all the movies are really great, like but I just think I kind of missed that one. I was kind of at an age where it came out like in '96, didn't it? The first one.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was kind of like at that age where I was maybe going to watch other movies, and I was like, I just wasn't a Tom Cruise fan. Just kind of like went Mission Impossible, another action movie. I was like, and then by that stage, I missed the train.
Yeah, I get that. And actually, this is a good thing. Islamic Psycho. I was disappointed. The latest yeah, that was very convoluted, and it did the thing that Mission Impossible movies never do, which is they try to be very fan servicey and tie everything together. Which the franchise out of the gate was never supposed to be that. They were originally supposed to be every movie directed by a different director. So like, but they kind of changed it. Looking for Ripley?
I just making sure she's sleeping there. She's out for the count.
But yeah, I think that we had a good show today. I think we can wrap it up, don't you think, David?
Yeah, well, I hope people enjoyed it. As I say, look, we haven't done too many lives, so I feel like I'm still a bit raw at it. So, but I enjoyed this one, John.
I'm glad I enjoyed it as well. And yeah, went a little longer than we anticipated. But I mean, we're talking about our favorites. Of course, it's going to go a little bit long. And like we both said at the top of the show, make sure you are subscribed to our new YouTube channel, the Let's Talk Movies
Yes.
podcast with John and David. And, we have a Facebook page as well. This video will be on this channel, but you'll also, I'm going to download it and upload it to the other YouTube channel. So if you're watching it there, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys subscribe and pay attention to everything else that we're doing here on this channel, and we would really appreciate the subscribe if you guys have it. Glad you guys had a great time watching with us today.
Yes, thanks very much. We appreciate any feedback because we know that not everything we do is going to be perfect, and we're always looking to um you know
Improve.
improve and make sure that what we're doing is what you guys like. So any feedback is welcome. And as John says, if you're on Facebook, if you look up Let's Talk Movies podcast with John and David, that's our Facebook page. If you follow that page, you'll get all the updates for our YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk Movies podcast with John and David on our YouTube channel, which is where me and John are going to be working together to put out content for to do with movies for people who love the stuff I put out to enjoy. So that's where we'll be. And then, of course, continue to support John on his Let's Talk Entertainment and Media page, which I do. I watch all his videos and I'm constantly critiquing him all the
Absolutely.
time. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sure David will have a lot to say after today.
Yeah, that's why he's so good.
David's my right hand man. Without him, Let's Talk Physical Media wouldn't be, or Let's Talk Entertainment Media wouldn't be what it is today. So, yeah.
John, I am your number one guy.
You are my number one guy. Just don't disappoint me, or I'm gonna have to shoot you, David. Gun.
You are my number one guy.
Oh God, man, that's honestly the perfect place to end it. I thought of Me, Myself, and Irene where he said that Me, Myself too. Actually, I was like, is he gonna say Me, Myself, and John?
Yeah, me and myself.
But yeah, thank you guys. That's it. Make sure you're subscribed, like we said. Make sure you're paying attention this Friday the 13th. David and I will be talking about the Friday the 13th franchise. So we hope you guys enjoy that.
Yeah, we'll be coming back for our second episode of the Axis Appreciation, Cinema Appreciation, where we will be talking about, as John said there. I just have to repeat you, John, just so people, if they didn't hear the first time,
they get it around.
The Friday the 13th franchise.
Yep. And yeah, good night, guys, and we'll see you around.